The arrogant CEO challenges the janitor to crack an impossible code, joking she'll marry him if he succeeds. The entire office froze the moment CEO Alina Khan walked in, heels clicking, eyes sharp enough to cut glass, her confidence shaking the floor. Everyone knew she didn't tolerate mistakes, lateness, or mediocrity. And in her eyes, the janitor, Zaid, was the definition of it.
But Zaid?
Quiet.
Calm.
Always sweeping floors with a half smile like he knew something no one else did. That morning, Alina was in a worse-than-usual mood. The company's cybersecurity system had been attacked overnight. 3 teams tried coding solutions. 5 senior engineers failed.
Even the head of IT said,
"Ma'am, this encryption is impossible to break." Alina slammed her laptop shut. Impossible? Nothing is impossible. Unless you're all as useless as this janitor sweeping the floor. The room went silent. All eyes slowly shifted toward Zaid.
He didn't react, didn't flinch,
just swept the same spot, slowly, almost intentionally. Annoyed, Alina shot at him. "Hey you, janitor, think you can solve this code?" Zaid looked up for the first time all morning, his dark eyes calm. "If you want me to try, I can." The IT team snickered. Alina rolled her eyes dramatically.
"Fine.
Crack it." She laughed loudly and added the line that made the whole office gasp. "And if you crack this code, I'll marry you." Everyone burst into laughter, expecting Zaid to shrink away. But he simply replied with a soft voice, "Then bring me the laptop." The laughter stopped. Alina froze. Something about the way he said it, so steady, so confident, felt wrong. A janitor shouldn't sound like that. Could he actually? And for the first time, doubt flickered in Alina's eyes. Zaid, the janitor, astonishingly deciphers the encryption that elite engineers failed to solve. The office turned into a silent theater as Zaid placed the mop against the wall and walked toward the long glass table where Alina's laptop sat, still showing the encrypted, impossible-to-break code. Even the senior coder, Faraz, whispered, "Ma'am, he's just a janitor. This is pointless." But Alina couldn't look away. Something in Zaid's calm footsteps made her chest tighten, not in fear, but in a strange, unfamiliar curiosity. Zaid sat down slowly, cracked his knuckles, and said politely, "May I?" Alina nodded stiffly. Her pride wouldn't let her backtrack, but her instincts whispered, "This man isn't ordinary." Zaid scanned the screen for just a few seconds. Not minutes. Seconds. The IT team exchanged confused looks. Faraz frowned. Alina leaned in. Zaid muttered under his breath, almost amused. AES 512 with a recursive hash loop. Who would bother using this outdated trick? The room collectively gasped. Only advanced cybersecurity specialists even recognized the term. The janitor shouldn't. Alina's voice cracked for the first time. You know this?" He didn't look up. His fingers began to move, swift, precise, elegant, like someone who wasn't learning the code, but remembering it. Within 2 minutes, he had rewritten the first layer. Faraz choked. The engineers whispered, "This shouldn't be possible. How is he doing this so fast? Is he trained?" Alina tried to hide her shock with a sarcastic smirk no longer convincing anyone. "Lucky guess, I suppose?" Zaid finally looked at her. His eyes held a depth she had never seen, mysterious, sharp, calculating. "I don't believe in luck, Ms. Alina. I believe in skill." A chill ran down her spine. Then tap,
Tap, tap.
his last 3 keystrokes. The screen flashed. Access granted. Encryption decoded. The office exploded with gasps. The janitor had cracked a code 5 senior engineers, 3 teams, and an entire IT department couldn't solve. Alina felt her throat dry. She joked he'd marry her if he solved it.
And he just did.
But what scared her more wasn't the code he cracked. It was the feeling that Zaid had cracked her entire perception of him. The office whispers about Zaid's mysterious past. The CEO begins to doubt her assumptions. The room buzzed like a shaken beehive. Half the staff whispered in awe. The other half stared at Zaid like he'd just landed from another planet.
But Zaid?
He stood up quietly, wiped his hands on his janitor uniform, and reached for his mop, as if cracking an impossible encryption was just part of his daily cleaning routine. That, somehow, stung the office even more. Faraz, the senior engineer, finally gathered himself and stepped forward. Sir, sir. He couldn't even pick a title. Zaid offered a small, polite smile. Just Zaid is fine. Faraz swallowed hard. No one dared laugh this time. Across the room, Alina felt heat rising in her cheeks. She hated feeling impressed. She hated feeling wrong. But most of all, she hated how calm and unreadable this janitor was. She stepped closer, arms folded. Who taught you to do that? Zaid shrugged lightly. Life. That answer irritated her more than anything. It was too smooth, too vague, too practiced. As he walked toward the supply closet, the whispers around the office grew louder. He talks like someone educated abroad. That code wasn't basic. He's a specialist. Why would a man like that work as a janitor? Maybe he's hiding from something. Alina heard every word. Each whisper chipped at her pride. She followed him halfway, then stopped. Zaid sensed her presence and turned. Is something wrong, Ms. Alina? She hesitated. A CEO didn't hesitate. But his eyes, calm, knowing, made her feel oddly exposed. You cracked the code. I did. You also heard what I said before that. Zaid's expression softened, almost teasing. About marrying me if I cracked it? Her heartbeat tripped. She folded her arms tightly. It was a joke. Zaid tilted his head, studying her with quiet intensity. Was it? For a moment, the air between them sharpened, charged, confusing. Alina stepped back, her confidence cracking like glass. Before she could respond, the office door burst open. In walked a tall man in a navy suit, wearing a badge no one expected to see. Cybersecurity Intelligence Unit. He scanned the room, then pointed straight at Zaid. We've been looking for you. The office froze. Alina's heartbeat did too, because the way the man spoke, it wasn't a request. It was respect, recognition,
Fear.
and suddenly, Alina realized, this wasn't just a janitor with a secret. This was a man with a past powerful enough to shake governments. And she had mocked him. Zaid is a former top cryptographer, a secret agent with a past that commands respect and fear. The man from the Cybersecurity Intelligence Unit strode in with purpose, shoulders tight, breath heavy, like he'd finally found something he'd been chasing for years. The entire office moved aside as if he carried electricity with him. He stopped inches from Zaid. Agency, why did you disappear? Gasps erupted. Alina's pulse hammered. Agent? Her janitor was an agent? Zaid sighed softly, leaning his mop against the wall as if this interruption were nothing more than an inconvenience. I didn't disappear. I resigned. The officer shook his head sharply. You can't resign from us. Not after what happened. Alina's throat tightened. What happened? Zaid stood straighter, shoulders squared, posture solid, eyes suddenly holding a weight no one had seen before. It wasn't the posture of a janitor. It was the posture of a man who had been through fire and still walked out alive. Alina finally found her voice. What is going on? Who is he? The officer turned to her. Ma'am, this janitor is Zaid Khan, former head cryptographer for the National Cyber Defense Unit. He designs systems entire governments rely on. The room vibrated with shock. Faraz nearly fainted. One of the interns whispered, This is the guy who cracked the terrorist network's code 3 years ago? The officer nodded. Alina's heart felt like it had stopped. She looked at Zaid, really looked, and suddenly the quiet confidence, the calm eyes, the impossible skill, none of it was random. He wasn't hiding his intelligence. He was hiding himself. Zaid finally broke the silence, voice low, controlled. I left because I lost someone. Someone who trusted me. Someone I couldn't save. A quiet heaviness spread across the room. The officer tried to protest. Zaid, you know that wasn't your fault. It was. Zaid cut in softly. And I couldn't keep working in a world where one mistake costs innocent lives. Alina felt her chest ache. This wasn't arrogance. This was a mystery. This was pain. Deep, quiet, buried pain. But the officer wasn't done. He stepped closer. We need you back. A new threat is rising. The attack on this office wasn't random. They were looking for you. The words struck like thunder. Alina's eyes widened. Looking for him? The officer nodded sharply. Zaid disappearing made him a target. The enemy has resurfaced. Zaid's jaw tightened. He didn't deny it. He didn't even look surprised. He had known this day would come. Alina's breath caught. She had mocked this man, insulted him, doubted him, and now he was the only person standing between her company and a threat she couldn't even comprehend. But worst of all, the thought hit her like a punch. He was willing to walk away again. Zaid leaves for his mission, but the CEO finally sees his true worth, realizing her pride and underestimation were wrong. The office was silent, every pair of eyes fixed on Zaid. Even Alina, who had prided herself on control, felt exposed, powerless. Zaid turned slowly, meeting Alina's gaze. For a moment, the janitor was gone. There was only the man who had carried the weight of secrets and lives on his shoulders. I never wanted recognition, he said quietly, almost to himself. I just wanted to do the right thing. Alina's voice trembled. And yet you saved us. All of us. Even me. I was wrong. He smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. You said if I cracked the code, you'd marry me. The room tensed. Laughter? Embarrassment? Shock. All blended into one. Alina's cheeks flushed. I didn't think. I was joking. Zaid leaned closer, his calmness returning. Sometimes, a joke is just a way of seeing if someone dares to try. Her heart raced. The arrogance, the teasing, the pain, it was all real. And somehow it drew her in. The officer cleared his throat. Zaid, we really need you back. There's no time. Zaid looked at Alina one last time. I'll handle the threat. But his voice softened, almost intimate. I don't walk away from people who see me for who I really am. Alina's breath caught. She realized she was holding her own judgment, her pride, and that she wanted him in her life, not as a janitor, not as a secret agent, but as himself. He picked up the laptop, prepared to leave with the officer, but paused at the door. His mop rested against the wall, silent witness to the life he had chosen to hide behind. I'll be back, he said simply. Alina smiled, heart pounding. I'll be waiting. The office exhaled. The tension lifted. But for Alina, the lesson lingered. Never underestimate someone by their title, and never mock someone who carries the weight of worlds quietly. And for Zaid? He left with his secrets intact, his mission renewed, and perhaps a chance at something more than recognition, a chance at love. As the office returned to work, whispers filled the air. Did you see that? That janitor, he's a legend. And she's going to remember this forever. Alina returned to her desk, laptop open, but her mind replayed every moment. She realized the truth. Sometimes the strongest, most extraordinary people are hiding in plain sight. And sometimes they're the ones worth waiting for.